What's up, guys? Well, the Celtics held on, won the game, 9-game winning streak now. So what I really liked is they came out with energy. They didn't come out lethargic like they were taking this for granted. And we had a highly motivated Jason Tatum coming out to redeem himself after shooting 1 for 18 or whatever. And so that helped get the intensity going, to have him bringing that energy for a game that very easily could have been, what do they call games like this? A trap game where you're sleeping through it, right? So on the other hand, I'm definitely bummed out. I'm bummed out that Taco Fall didn't get called up. Okay, Taco Fall just an hour and a half up the road in Portland, Maine, if not in Boston. And we have two big guys out, Daniel Tice and Robert Williams, and we can't bring the big guy Taco Fall up for a day. There was no better game to bring him up for and to develop him, right? It's against the Wizards. You actually really need him. You also are thinking about him as a member of the team. And, you know, he spent the whole summer and the whole preseason with the Celtics and the early part of the season. And then, you know, he's been up there, a week? It's been, a week since he got called up to Boston. What better time than to bring him in and to remind him, yes, you still are indeed very much a part of this team. And instead we go out there and we have to watch Grant Williams. He only got 11 minutes. Anyway, they were early and they were important minutes. And Vincent Poirier, he only got 3 minutes in the first half. And they were doing great, and he hit his only shot. And he had 3 rebounds in his 3 minutes. But Brad Stevens yanks him out and puts Grant Williams in there. And I don't know, man. In any event, the Celtics got the win. Enes Kanter playing perhaps a season-high 25 minutes. So I'm not going to complain too much. Marcus Smart continuing to shoot well, very well. And I do believe that for most every player, being in the starting lineup is indeed a confidence booster, a rhythm booster, especially when you're talking about the rhythm of shooting outside. So people give guys a hard time for coming off the bench and they're not shooting well from 3, like Carson Edwards had his struggles before, 4 for 5 tonight. But, you know, think about it. When has Carson Edwards ever come off the bench, right? Never in his life has he had the game start and he goes to the bench to cool off for 6 or 10 minutes, right? And then to come in with all this pressure and your minutes are limited and you have a short hook and you got to knock down your shots because that's what you're supposed to be good at. It's very, very hard. So I do believe that some of that has probably impacted Smart in the past. Remember last year he shot great from 3, but last year he was in the starting lineup, right? And looking back, when he was a rookie, he ended up starting, especially after they traded Rajon Rondo mid-season. And he actually shot like 34%, might have knocked down over 100 3-pointers as a rookie. So you look at the first year, you look at his 4th year, which was last year, and now this year where he is starting, we do see a little bit of a pattern there where Marcus Smart in the starting lineup is probably a better shooter. And it was really to Jaylen Brown's credit last year when he had to come off the bench, and then he still managed to be a good 3-point shooter. So I think he grew a lot from that. Marcus Smart coming off the bench for a couple of years, no doubt, learned a lot from that. Jason Tatum, really glad to see him rebound, have a big game, taking 20 shots. Jaylen Brown also getting 19 shots. So the young guys getting the most shots, that's cool. We do see that their minutes was creeping up. Pretty interesting. In a game where you think they would have been able to rest these guys more, they had to play the maximum minutes just to squeeze out this win, which almost slipped away in the very last minutes with Thomas Bryant, I think, missing a free throw. And he could have brought the game to 3 with, a minute or 2 left. That really could have changed the face of this game late. So all told, with Daniel Tice and Robert Williams missing and perhaps misplaying of our talent, roster management with not bringing up Taco Fall. Unfortunately, guys, because this is, the 9th game of a 9-game win streak, I think that they're not going to learn any lessons about how they should have brought Taco Fall up. This is going to perhaps reaffirm in their minds that they don't need size And, these are the days. They don't seem like important days. They don't seem like important games. But when you're talking about the playoffs and it comes down to who the coach trusts, he's not going to trust the 7'7" guy Taco Fall, who hasn't, been with the team much during the regular season. And this was absolutely one of those games that smart coaches and general managers and owners would want to have Taco Fall there. It's also a home game for the home crowd to cheer for Taco. Like, why are they depriving of us of this? To watch Shemi Ojale and, Grant Williams go out there and play center? Oh, it's frustrating. And they just think they're so smart because so Shemi Ojale can go out and, miss wide open dunks, right? Grant Williams. Oh, it's such a genius move to have a 6-foot center out there. Oh, you guys are so damn smart. Oh, and you're so smart you hired a woman. I don't know, guys. But all told, they played with impressive effort. They played with good enough focus. And there wasn't bickering or yelling when they were at timeouts, even though it was a close game late, where teams like last year's Celtics, they would have just started melting down even if they had a lead against a bad team, right? And you would see it all over the sidelines. So the team stuck together. The team played hard, and these are some of the toughest games in the season when you have a hard time even getting excited for it. It's just a Wednesday night. And you're about to go on a really long road trip. They're jumping on a plane like right now. And they're traveling all the way across the country to Golden State. And they're not going to see their families for, 9 days or something like that. So these were all things that very easily could have distracted the players from the game. But everything is so good. When your foundation is good, you don't crack up and fall apart and disintegrate into a collection of individuals in games like this. Remember, last year before the big West Coast road trip, the last game, I think it was the Houston game, right? And we saw how right before the big road trip, Kyrie shows up and he says, oh my God, I got to deal with these cameras. This is what I got to deal with, right? Just acting like his life was so miserable, right as he was walking into the arena for the game, right? Like, oh my God, my life is so miserable. Got to deal with these TV cameras that I dress up for every single day. And then I got to go on a road trip with these players I don't even like across the country. So his bad attitude was on full display for all the national TV cameras. They had to sit down with him after the game and say, hey, this is really, really toxic what you're doing. You really have to improve your attitude. And then the public relations and their lackeys and the media created this narrative, just like propaganda style. Like Defense Department style. They probably have veterans of the U.S. government, military intelligence community, helping to run some of these PR departments for these NBA teams, right? It was a classic psyop. Oh, the magical plane ride that fixed everything. It was all lies. It was pure BS. Luckily, tonight as they jump on that plane to go west, we don't need any magical plane ride, do we? Our players do not need any magical plane ride. But, you can imagine if they had lost to Washington tonight, which almost happened, things would have been pretty tense on that plane ride, guys. And so, we're in a really great spot here, winning 9 in a row. I know there's some problems with no Taco Fall around, not showing him the respect, trying to be too smart and, playing way too small. But on the upside, where are the great teams in the NBA? Even if we do lose to the Clippers, even if we get crushed by the Clippers, well, we wouldn't even see the Clippers until the NBA Finals. So it doesn't even matter, right? And then we got Golden State. I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about Sacramento. Phoenix a little bit, yeah. On a long road trip, playing in Phoenix, yeah, I'm a little worried about that. But even if we lose, 3 of these games, we're what? 9-4, and we're still, top 2 or top 3 seed in the East. So things are going remarkably well, guys. Look at that. This is just an absolutely remarkable, almost perfect. Almost perfect. As close as you can get to perfect without being perfect. It's just unfortunately in that first loss, there did appear to be some pretty big red flags with the personnel and the playing philosophy. And we did catch, Toronto when it was their very first away game of the season, which we hear is generally a rough going for most every team, including Brad Stevens' Celtics. We have played a lot of easy teams, We did beat San Antonio and Dallas, but these aren't exactly super teams. And the San Antonio Spurs are getting blown out tonight by the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we have had a little bit of an easy schedule here, right? And so we certainly hope that this team, which is a pretty old team, I would say, even the young guys are pretty battle tested, and last year was a very big test. I don't think they're going to get too high. And Jason Tatum, after his terrible game in Dallas, he actually showed so much poise and maturity. He continued to show it tonight by coming out strong. And then when he's interviewed at halftime by Abby Chin, he's not worried about how well he did. He's just worried about how they need to focus more. They need to communicate more on defense. And, we're not really in a good spot in this game. And that's exactly the right mature attitude you would expect from a 10-year veteran or something like that. So having won 9 in a row, these guys are not going to take this, 5-game road trip lightly. So that's just awesome. That is awesome. We got Kyrie Irving coming up on the schedule, and these guys are already circling those dates on the calendar to totally embarrass Kyrie Irving as much as possible. Because no matter what positive things they said about him, they all resented the hell out of him, and resented the hell out of one of the most talented teams in recent years being completely undermined and subverted for no reason at all other than one a-hole. So they got those games circled, and they're not going to let off the gas before those games, in my opinion. So, we might have a 15, 16, 17 game win streak going into Kyrie to stomp all over those Nets. Let's go Celtics. I will see you soon. Peace.